Let's talk about the love list. Have you ever made your love list where you sat down and you wrote out exactly what you want in your man? And then you have the list and you go on dates and then nothing changes, right? You go on this date, still feels disappointing, or you meet these guys online, they don't have the things that you're writing on your list. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you're starting to wonder, does this even work? Am I doing this wrong? So if you've ever had that experience, stay with me because today I'm going to walk you through 5 specific shifts that will make your love list go from a wishing exercise to a real magnetic force in your life. And at the end, I'm going to give you one final piece that most people miss that actually ties the whole thing together in a way that so many people have never considered and takes it to a whole nother level. Now, I want to start with something super important, and that is that the fact that you have made a list or attempted to make a list is a beautiful sign that you're approaching your love life with intention. And that's not a small thing. So many people go into dating and they're actually kind of on autopilot. Like they'll just react to whoever shows up or they'll settle for whoever's pursuing them. But that's not you because you're even watching this. You are the individual who you are creating clarity. You are sending an intentional signal to the universe, and that matters. So the question isn't whether or not you should have a list. It's really, how do you write one that actually works with your energy, your vision, your heart, that becomes a compelling magnet to you? There are 5 specific practices that I want to show you right now, and then one bonus that ties them all together that almost nobody knows. So the first layer of this idea is specificity. You want to be specific, and I mean really specific. So instead of saying, hey, I want a good man, or I want a manly man, whatever it is for you, those things are true, but they're also really vague. And so they don't give your heart anything to really recognize. They don't send a clear signal to the universe. And so your list is going to work best when you describe very specific qualities, real felt qualities of who your man is in enough detail that you'd know him when you meet him. Now, here's an important insight. You might be the person where you have some ideas of what you want, but it's really vague. You're like, I don't really know exactly what I do want. It feels overwhelming. And usually the case is, you might not know what you want, but you darn well sure know what you don't want. And so here's the hack for this. If you don't know what you want, start actually with what you don't want and then flip it and write the opposite. So I don't want a man who's emotionally shut down. Just flip that around. I want a man who's emotionally open and available. Or I don't want a man who's lazy. Instead, well, what's the opposite of that? I want a man who's motivated, who's hardworking, who's driven. I don't want a man who's inconsistent. Flip it around. I want a man who shows up. I want a man who follows through. I want a man who does what he says. I don't want a man who makes everything about himself. That self-centered guy. If that's the guy you've dated in the past, flip it. And on the other side, you can say, I want a man who is genuinely curious about my life and about my dreams and about my world and is interested in me. So you see how that works is just you flip what you don't want, you turn it into what you do want. Because the cool part is your frustrations already know, they have encoded inside them exactly what you want. Just give yourself permission to listen to them, flip them, and then that help creates your list. So I encourage you to pull out your journal and make 2 columns if you want to. On the left side, you're writing what you don't want, and then just on the right side, flip it to what you do want, and that becomes a portion of the list that you're creating. Shift number 2 is focus on values, not the things he can't change. Here's something I see all the time in my coaching, and I want to say it with love. A lot of lists are filled with things that your right guy is going to have no control over in his life, like how tall he is, right? How much hair he might have, unless he gets hair transplants, the age, right? Things like that, what he looks like when he walks into a room. I'm not saying a physical attraction doesn't matter. It absolutely does. But here's what I invite you to consider. The things that are going to make or break your relationship years from now are not going to be his height. Like, I've never seen a woman say she ends up getting together with a guy who's 6'2" and who's handsome, and who later in their relationship, when things get really rough, and they're like, man, my relationship is perfect because he's 6'2", he's tall. Like, I love the way my body fits into him. I don't care that he treats me like crap, but just he's tall is amazing. Or he's good looking. Like, no, those things don't make for a great relationship. And you know this. What make for a great relationship are his character, are sharing the same values, having the same vision together. Like, it's the way he handles conflict and his ability to communicate with you. It's the way he treats people, the way he treats your family, the way he treats people, your friends, people at work, the way he shows up when life gets hard. Those are the things that build a beautiful life together. So when you're writing your list, lead with values. What does he believe in? How does he treat his word? What's his relationship to money, to family, to growth, to faith? Is he someone who takes responsibility, or is he someone who blames and points fingers at others? Is he someone who's curious about the world and loves adventure and loves to learn, or is he closed off to it? Is he someone who wants to grow, or is he someone who's already decided, nah, this is my level, I'm done? Those are the questions that help predict a beautiful long-term relationship. And so the list that attracts the right man isn't going to be like a shopping catalog. It's really a map of the soul of the person that you're looking for. All right, shift number 3 is to include how you feel around him. Now, this one's different. And I think it might be actually one of the most important shifts of all, because most love lists, they focus entirely on him, his qualities, his traits, his life. But I would invite you to add something different and write down how you feel about yourself when you're around him. Because here's the truth. You've probably been around men who look good on paper, right? They're successful, they're handsome, they check all the boxes, and yet something felt off. It felt like you had to either edit yourself or not be yourself, or like maybe you were always on edge, or it felt like you were auditioning instead of actually just being. And that feeling matters. It's data. It's your body giving you feedback to the kind of person that you're with. So how to do this is imagine that you're in the most amazing relationship, the one that's in your vision. Put yourself inside one moment in that relationship, and then notice how you feel. And it might be words like safe, cherished, love, joy, gratitude. Notice how you feel, and then write those down, because those are guides for you that let you know you're going to feel the same way when you're with your person. It might be a slightly early version of that, but those are directionally correct vibrations or feelings that let you know you're with the right guy. Now let's talk about shift number 4, is to give yourself permission to want it all. This one might surprise you. I encourage you, create as many items on your list as you want. I'm serious. Don't edit yourself before the universe gets a chance to respond. Don't decide in advance, well, this isn't really realistic, this isn't going to work. Don't cross something off your list because you think it's too much to ask for. Here's what I've seen happen when women over-edit their list. They dial themselves down. They attract men who are almost right. Men who have some of what they want, but they're not really a great match. And then they spend years trying to talk themselves into good enough. So don't negotiate before you've even started to give yourself the full vision. What you want to do is you want to write the version of this list that makes your heart say, yes, that is him. That's what I've been waiting for. That's the list that I want. Knowing you're not asking for too much. And focusing that list on the qualities and how you feel in that relationship. You can put the physical qualities down as well, but just hold those with an open hand where you're not attached to that. And then shift number 5 is this, is as many qualities as you want. I mean, you could have 250 qualities on there. And then the job is to narrow it down to your top 5. These are the things that are non-negotiable. The top 5 qualities without which, no matter how great everything else is, this isn't your person. And then you create your top 5 won't haves. So your top 5 must haves, and then your top 5 won't haves. These are the deal breakers, the 5 things that no matter how charming he is, no matter how attractive he is, no matter how much chemistry you feel with this guy, you're not going to move forward if these things are present, these won't haves. So what you want to do is you want to think of these 10 items like your rudder. So when you're sailing on the dating waters and you're not sure which way to go, should I go out with this guy again? I'm not sure. Come back to that rudder. Is he a yes on your must-haves? Is he a clean no on your won't-haves? If the answer is yes and yes, then you keep going. If you want to see him one more time, you keep going. So you have the answer. And so what's nice about that is the rudder isn't making you too rigid. It's making you more clear, and it's creating that magnetic vibration that's bringing what's most important into your life. Now, let me give you the final piece that most people never understand when it comes to lists that really make it work like magic. So let's imagine you've written the full list. You're super specific. You know exactly what the values are you want in this guy. You know what you want the experience to feel like when you're with him, and you've given yourself permission to write it all down. It's all there. And then you've identified your must-haves and your won't-haves. Here's the key. You want to make another list for yourself in the version of who do you need to be in order to attract a man like this? What are the qualities that you have that's a match for the person that you say you want? And then at the very bottom of the list you have for him, you write this or something even better still. In other words, you write an open line where you're saying, God, I would love all of this, and I'm making room for whatever you want to bring into my life. There's this great quote in the movie Fools Rush In. And in that movie, the guy says to the girl when they're falling in love and he realizes she's the one for him, and she's not everything he would have originally written on his list. She's so much more, and so many of these other things that he tells her. He says, you are everything I never knew I always wanted. And I love that because God knows you better than we know ourselves. And so there are going to be things that come to us in our partner that we didn't even know that we wanted or needed for our long-term relationship. And so by adding a blank line that says this or something even better still, you're opening it up for God to bring you exactly what is the right, amazing person for you in the life that you would love to live. And so I hope this serves you. I would love to hear from you. Go ahead and post in the comment section below. What have you learned about writing lists that are best practices for you? And if you haven't done this process yet, do this process. Hold it with an open hand. Non-attachment. This is what I would love, but it's this or something even better still. And watch that become a magnet to bring to you the right person that you would love to have in your life. So I appreciate you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.